Yesterday as we were out on the field to talk to you people and congratulate you on an incredible performance, an incredible way that you handled some of the adversities that we've met here as we pioneered this first Peach Bowl Heritage Festival. The extremely and unseasonably cold weather that could have limited some of our activities, and yet despite that, you kids have come through like troopers, and I taught music for 15 years, and just seeing you kids perform, knowing some of the adversities that some of you have had, from waiting for buses for 3 hours and having another band ran out of gas on one of their buses. Despite all of these things, and obviously some other things, the cold and whatnot, you kids have responded just incredibly well. You know, we adults should take a lesson from these kids. We can learn a lot about regrouping and adjusting to things and handling things that you kids have just handled in your stride, and you're an example to all of us. One other thing, and I want to commend you for that, and commend you for just the outstanding performances that we saw yesterday. And then I wanted to mention too, as I talked to the hotel staff here, pass on some compliments to you, and I think it's a credit to you, a credit to your teachers, and a credit to you parents who are here, because you're responsible for these kids. And that's everyone I've talked to on this hotel staff who has talked about these kids have said what a fine, well-mannered, bright bunch of kids you've been. Sometimes kids get a bad rap, you know, and you'll hear somebody in a hotel room maybe yell down the hall, "What time are we supposed to be up in the morning?" You know, and so somebody phones the head desk, "These kids up here are causing all kinds of trouble." And yet, if any of you have ever been in the hotel of a Shriners convention or something, you know that what these kids, the little bit of noise these kids create is nothing compared to what can be created. And I think it's about time, and I think we ought to show you kids just what we think of you. Adults in the audience, would you, with me, give these kids a round of applause for the way they take on. Thank you. I'll make just a few very brief and general comments. You directors, if you would like tonight, the hotel has requested that, just in order to save all of the problems tomorrow of checking out with 1,000 people checking out all at once, if you would go to the desk. Now, they've prepared a list of everyone in your group who has made long-distance telephone calls and so on, and if we could check on that tonight.
Okay, let us move on to the presentation here. If there, as Mr. Pierce mentioned, if there are people who would really like to get some good photos, if you guys will come on down here, adults and students alike, if you want to move right down in front here, we'll give you 15 seconds to get here. Come on down. Okay, this is a very important moment, people. There are some very, very special individuals in this room tonight, without whom none of us, myself, Mr. Pierce, Mr. Cavender, all the adults, and all you students, without these particular people, we would not be here, and you wouldn't either. Perhaps you would not have ever participated in music were it not for these people. They're dedicated, they're underpaid, they're overworked, they're organizers, they're custodians, they're administrators, they're musicians. And they're a very, very outstanding and special group of people. And I would like, at this time, for all of your band directors to please line up here right across the front. That weather held out, and it did for us, and we were as cold as you were up in that press box watching, but we warmed up in a hurry when we saw how fine the marching shows were. And we also realized that over the Christmas holidays, most of the bands have not had a great deal of time to rehearse, if any, and that your marching seasons for most of you ended several weeks ago, if not longer, and that was even more impressive, that the shows came off as well as they did in those circumstances. So, to Frederick High School. Oh, first of all, before we do that, we have 4 special awards. We have an outstanding drum major, an outstanding drum major. Let us continue with the plaques and awards for the field shows themselves. To Frederick High School, a bronze award. To Fort Osage High School, the bronze award. The director's name who I have not had the pleasure of mentioning yet, Mr. Richard Fujimoto, St. Xavier, a silver award. Drive High School, also a director whom you have not met yet, Mr. Terry Blaylock. Athens Drive, a silver award. To Mr. Trier at Cambridge High School, a gold award. At Defiance High School, thank you, a gold award. The bands in order of appearance in the parade were Defiance, St. Xavier, St. Cloud, Athens Drive, Cambridge, Frederick, Flint Academy, and Fort Osage. We, as we stood on this morning, our adjudication sheets blowing off the clipboards into the street. Yeah, it's sad, I know. You know, it'd be really nice to me. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. And as we considered it, and as the weather got worse and worse, as we saw units dropping out of the parade, thick and fast, as a matter of fact, there were supposed to be 14 units between 2 sets of bands. And both bands followed each other immediately. All 14 had dropped out. So as we sat and considered the final results for the parade awards, we thought, you know, any band who's crazy enough to get out there to do this deserves a gold award, so all the bands are... The auxiliary units are really to be complimented. You've got a flag on a 6-foot pole that is nearly ready to go. And the drummer's hands freeze, and the wind player's fingers freeze, right? So everybody was really, really valiant this morning in the parade, and it was very unfortunate the weather was so bad. Next year we'll hope for better weather. Okay, as Mr. Cavender mentioned to you, or Mr. Pierce mentioned to you, Mr. Cavender and I have considered the rehearsal in the morning, and